obviously, I am not the only one that likes to thrift for the garden and inside your home, because I got something in the mail and this touched me so much, you guys. Mary in Florence, Arizona, she sent me a belated birthday present with the sweetest card, and she said that she found these at a Goodwill store hanging all together in a bag at a Goodwill store, and she knows how much I love taper candles and candle snuffers, or snifters my mom used to call them. And look, she found 3 of them in a sack at her Goodwill store. Aren't they dear? So you never know what kind of treasures you're going to find, and these could be used inside or out, but I just think it's just as sweet as can be. I just love it, and I also love the scent of when the candle goes out, and the scent of the wax drying. So that is my number 1 thrifted item for the garden or for the house, compliments of my friend Mary. Now let's go elsewhere in the garden and I'll show you something else. Now let me talk a little bit more about my thrifting philosophy again before I show you the next item that I actually got 2 of them a number of years ago. So some people comment and said, how much junk do you really need? Well, I don't think of it as junk. I think of them as things that are repurposed or regifted. But that said, for probably every 1 thing I bring home, I take 10 things. So it's not like it's accumulating over time. I'm not really a hoarder. I gift a lot of it, but that way I can kind of economically use something for a little while, and then I can give it back to Goodwill, or like I say, re-gift it. So that's kind of my philosophy. I don't feel guilty about doing it. I'm not going to Target or someplace like that, buying a bunch of new stuff that then I don't use. This way I can use them, I can find delight in them, and then I can pass them on, either back to Goodwill, a thrift store, or to another friend. Okay, so here's my next thing. I like to look, as I've told you, for any kind of metallic items, including things like this old rusted hose holder. Now it kind of looks like a shepherd's hook, and I could easily hang a lantern on it, or I could hang a hanging basket on it. In this case, you'll see that I had a lantern hanging on it, but it's also used as a support for this euonymus topiary that took a hit this winter, but it's coming back out. So I'm kind of getting a twofer. It's a twofer use with this. I got a couple of them at the junk store or Goodwill a number of years ago. One is in my front yard, this one is in my backyard. So look for any kind of hooks, stands, or any kind of holders that you might be able to repurpose in your garden, and you don't pay anything for them being pre-aged. Well, one of the things I love about topiary is the art form of the display itself. Not too long ago, I saw an article in Martha Stewart Living. It was a library, and she had some of her topiaries, and they were sitting on what looked to be copper saucers. Now, I imagine that copper saucers could be pretty expensive, but if you are thrift-minded and thrifty, you can find something that's kind of a replica of that look, and I did. I got these on Amazon, and what they are is just copper burner covers for your stove, and they really look like copper. They look kind of high-end. They come in a set, 2 different sizes, and then I just put some felt glides on the bottom, and they look really nice inside. They protect your surfaces, and they look kind of high-end for not much money at all. Now, also a thrifty find you can get at the dollar store, and I buy these almost by the dozens. I love these inexpensive, you can see it rained last night, inexpensive glass coasters. Now I think what they really are candle holders to hold columnar or pillar candles, but they make brilliant saucers for your topiary, for your house plants, whatever. They've got these little feet on them, And they just kind of disappear as saucers. Plus, what I like about them, if you use them on a terrace stand like mine, those little feet kind of nestle into the grooves and the horizontal bars of the plant terrace itself, so it secures them in place, but it gives them all kind of a nice finished look, whether you're using them inside or out. So there's a couple of thrifty finds for you to use in your garden or in your house. Now let's move on to the next one. Well, Stuart was making fun of me because in the last thrifty find segment, I couldn't remember what those burner covers were called. So he was making fun of me and just asked me, so do I know what this is called? And yes, I do. This would be called a basket, a rectangular basket with a lid on it. I really like this find. I got it not too long ago at the Goodwill store. And what I like about it is it's the perfect size. It's the perfect width for seeds. So something like this, at the end of the season, I like to collect my own larkspur, poppy seeds, other types of seeds. This way, I can collect my own seed and I can then put them in a sweet basket like this from the thrift store, and I can gift it to somebody else at Christmas time. Well, it's a really damp, cool day, and it's especially damp and cool back here in my little work corner. Well, one of my husband's favorite things to do is take country roads, take the back roads to all of the different small towns in Oklahoma. It really is kind of fun. You guys might like doing it too. And what is fun about it a lot of times are those stores that you see typically on the outskirts of town when you're first driving in. Sometimes they'll be right next to a farm stand, but there'll be like a flea market store, an antique store, and you can find all sorts of cool things. A lot of them will be sitting outside. And years ago, I saw these old laundry tubs, and they were doing just that. They were sitting outside and they were calling my name. And why I wanted them was because I knew they would be brilliant for me to put potting soil in, and also my beloved gravel. Now, I've seen these a number of times at stores like this. I don't know how unique they were, but I've seen a lot of them, so you might be able to still find some yourself. Now, one thing to remember, if you use them for this same purpose, mine came on a stand like this, and they're really nice. They just kind of look like big square buckets. But one thing I learned over time is that they do have a drainage hole at the bottom, so make sure that you keep that drainage hole open. Otherwise, when it rains like it did yesterday, the water won't go all the way through and permeate the containers. They'll just kind of be a mosquito draw. So this would be another fun thing for you guys to look for a thrifted find at a flea market. Well, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Whenever I go to junk stores or thrift stores, I'm always looking for any kind of stands that may have had a previous life with another purpose, but that I can somehow reimagine or reuse in my garden. And this is a perfect example. This is just a beautiful old stand. I'm not sure what it held originally, maybe a gazing ball or something that form-fitted into these just circular holders or pins around the edge. But I have used it for several different things, and right now this iteration of its use is just a basket. It's actually a hanging basket that I've just nestled into here in between those kind of metal prongs. Now, in the past, what I also have used it for is a small table, kind of to showcase a fern. I was actually used it inside, and I got a great big, just a stone tile from Home Depot, and I put the stone tile on top of this, and then I just had a big cascading fern that was just kind of pendulous and overflowing around the edges. Because in and of itself, I think it's just inherently beautiful however you use it, and I can use it indoors or outdoors, and I think it's very multi-purpose. So another reason to look for any kind of stands that can be refashioned into a number of different ways. Now let's go to one more and we'll finish up this thrifting weekend. Now, my husband made me promise that I would include this in my thrift store Sunday segment because he's so proud of himself. He found this on the side of the road. I guess it was put out for Big Junk Day. And I'm not really sure what it is, but it's got a sort of kitsch charm. It looks like maybe it's a samurai costume vase or a bust or something like that. At any rate, he thought it was kind of fun and kind of charming, and I guess it is. Let me show you what it looks like on top. And I guess you have to be a little bit older maybe to finally appreciate the charm that is kitsch and how you might want to use it in some way in your home or in the garden. But my husband thought this was just too fun to pass up, and he was like a little kid when he brought it home to me. So there is your last thrift store or junk store or free by the side of the road find for this weekend.